Hello, everyone, and good morning. This is Lisa, or at least it's morning where I'm at. The sun actually hasn't come up, so I kind of like to get up early in the morning. So, anyway, before we get started, again, if you're enjoying the content, please click the subscribe button, like, comment. It just helps the channel grow, and that helps spread awareness for everyone. So, in this video, we're always talking about like the really nasty things that narcissists do. Their verbal abuse, there's sometimes physical abuse, a lot of them, and they're just the really obvious things they do. And so yesterday I put out a video which a lot of people resonated with, and I was just like, and I got the movie Riding in Cars with Boys. Okay? So I was like, how about let's just call this Riding in Cars with Narcs. And everyone who has done this, it really is. It's one of two categories. You are either bored out of your mind because what is their number one conversation topic? Themselves. And if and I used to listen to mine drone on and on and on. But that was preferable to the, actually I like that. I like the silent treatment the best because then he wasn't saying anything. But you could just kind of feel that vibe. However, with the, being in cars, it's like you're trapped, you can't get out. And just on a little side note, my narcissist was like, this was his thing. He loved it, especially if it's a long trip in a car, because then he knew, ooh, I got you. I mean, what am I going to do? Get out and stand on the side of the highway, hitchhike back home? I'm not. And it would just be miserable. Okay, I mean, we once drove all the way from Oregon to Colorado, and I just can't even tell you. I thought I was going to be dead by the time I got to Colorado. And anyway, and that was a thing. But some other little just subtle things they do to just invalidate you subtly or devalue you subtly in front of other people. I'm going to give you an example. As I mentioned the other day in the video, both my brother and I are adopted. We never had problems with being adopted, or I don't think he has. I certainly haven't. I never wanted to go, oh, I need to find my birth family so I can go and live with them, because I have had a wonderful mother and father. My mother is still around. She is in her 90s, but my father has passed. And I would have never traded them. Well, anyway, we ended up doing DNA testing, how you can send all that sort of stuff away. And my former husband found out that one of his brothers had a child that the brother never even knew about. Unfortunately, this brother had already passed a few months ago. However, my ex did reach out to this lady, and I think she was maybe about in her 30s or something like that. And I thought, hey, that's a really nice thing. That's good. I'm sure, because she's been looking for her birth family. She didn't know who her dad was and things like that. And so I thought that was really cool. So his family comes to visit us, his sister and her husband. My ex's sister and her husband come to visit. And on the way there, they had stopped by in Seattle, Washington, and had actually met this girl and talked to her, had dinner with her, and all this, and they had had a good time. And so I made the remark like, wow, that was really nice. And I'm sure she really appreciated that. All right. So my narcissist goes, oh, well, you should hear Lisa's story, because her story with her birth mother didn't go that way. And it didn't. And that's really a much longer video. But basically, she did not want to be found, and was more than a little nasty to me on the phone. So I don't, who knows what your experience is going to be if you're an adopted child and you pop up and contact your birth parents. But this was certainly a surprise. I was not expecting her to be mean, nasty, and everything like that. With my birth father, it was a whole different story, and he was actually like, yay, So I actually got it from both sides. But back to that, the story with with my ex and his niece that he had just found out, and a sister, and everybody meeting her, and it's all a happy story. And now he's like, oh yeah, well, Lisa, tell him what happened to you. And I just felt like, oh my God. Okay, so I tell the story just as fast as I could, because I really didn't want to tell the story. And it's not because it still bothers me. It's just because it's like, it was so inappropriate for what they were talking about. They're talking about a good reunion with someone, and this was not a good thing. So I tell the story. They listen. It's obviously a downer kind of story. And honestly, within just a few minutes of me finishing that story, my ex and his sister started talking, because they come from a family of 5 kids. And they started talking about how they used to pick on the youngest in the family, which is a boy. And the way they picked on him was by teasing him and telling him he was adopted. And this upset him. And I'm thinking, I'm adopted. You know this. I just told this story, and why? I mean, I didn't say anything, but I thought, God, how rude. I mean, I thought, this is really rude that they're just going to even bring this up. Also, keep in mind that when he went to pick his sister and her husband up from the airport to bring them to our house in the first place, I couldn't go, even if I'd wanted to. I was teaching a class. But he just told them all kinds of stuff about me before they even met me. And one thing, though, that I figured out about the family is his sister, my ex's sister, told me that her husband was a whole lot like my husband. And, as in constantly interrupting, not really listening to you, talking over you. And she went on with a few other things. And these were, of course, things that my husband did. And right then and there is when I figured out, and she kind of confirmed it anyway, that this is exactly how their dad was. And I wasn't privy to knowing the parents prior. And it's really good if you know the person's parents, because you can at least see how they grew up. But both of them were already deceased. So I knew nothing about it. But I did notice he talked about Mama a whole lot more than Daddy. And when he did say something about his dad, he would always sort of say, well, he was definitely in charge. He was definitely the man of the house. And I thought, well, I think this is what he thinks he's doing, is being in charge. And also, since he was the one with more money, if I complained about anything, and I mean anything, he would say, do you know how many people would like to be in your shoes, Lisa? Do you know how many women would love to be living where you're living? And I thought, we did live in a nice place, but it's like, yeah, but I don't remember signing up for the yelling, the screaming, the cursing me, the yelling at my kids. I don't remember signing up for the abuse part, right? So anyway, I just wanted to make a little bit longer video today, and it's first thing in the morning, and just go over some of the thoughts that I've had after reading some of the comments. Is that I honestly thought, like, is this just my narcissist? Is he just the only one who waits till you get in a car to come at you? No, obviously not, because so many others have had the same experience. And as a matter of fact, on a little side note, I was the third wife with this narcissist. His second wife, he literally waited to get her in a car right after they had left a Christmas party where he had her trapped, to tell her, oh, by the way, guess what? I've been having an affair for about a year now. Oh yeah, and she's pregnant and I'm the father. And then, that's what he did. And he even wrote a book about it, where he kind of brags about it. It's really sick. So anyway, this is just a say hi video. I'm preparing for lives. That's where there's no stops in this thing. So we'll be doing that shortly. I'm just looking for the exactly right time, place, and all that kind of stuff to give that a go. All right. So you guys have a wonderful day, and may you all be blessed.